my name is Vina, aka Miss WC Reader, and welcome back to my channel. And today's discussion is inspired by a discussion that I've been having with some of my author friends like the past couple of weeks, but also just things that I've observed in the book community, not just this year, but the past couple of years really. And we are seeing a lot more authors be very sensitive to criticism, to the point where they are attacking people for criticism, and not just general readers but also other authors. Like, a sentiment I see shared often on social media that I think people need to stop sharing is like, as an author, don't publicly rate any book a 4-star or lower, or be prepared to fight if you end up with that person on a panel. And I'm like, what? First of all, how unprofessional can you be if you're going to try and make a panel discussion all about you and your book when you have a bunch of different authors there to talk about craft? But also, do you not know how to conduct yourself in public? Like, even if you dislike somebody, people work with people they dislike all the time. You don't even have to directly work with this person because you're going to see them one time, probably maybe every once in a while at like author events, but you're not going to be seeing this person every day. There are people who work in big industries, like in top positions, who hate each other, but they still know how to conduct themselves on a panel. And let's be honest, most of the people talking ain't gonna do shit. Like, most authors, they're authors because they know how to use their words better than they know how to use their words offline, off page. So, like, I don't understand that. And you're going to make yourself look bad trying to fight somebody on a panel. It's just going to backfire on you. So say somebody doesn't like your book and you're an author and you bring up something that they said 5 years ago about your book online. Okay, so now let's have a discussion about it. I know I would immediately go into defense mode, and I'm going to then say, okay, you know what, let's have this discussion. And you better not hope it's a book that I have available on my Kindle app, because then I can bring up specific passages as well. But I'll be like, okay, so let's talk about what you said here. Why did you portray the character like that? Why did you never follow up on this specific plot? And then we're going to get into it, and then it's going to bring up issues that people might not have noticed reading your book, and then they're going to have questions about it. And then it's also going to become a discussion that'll probably end up online, so then people online are going to be talking about it. It's not going to work in your favor. It's going to end up making you look bad. So I don't understand why people use that as a threat. It's never going to make that person look good. But also, authors have been critiquing each other's work for decades. Yes, some literary beefs have definitely spawned from it back in the day as well, but it's a thing that's going to happen because once you put a book out in the world, anybody can be a consumer to it and read it and decide what they want about it. And so I recently saw there was like a little bit of drama surrounding Queenie. So Queenie is a book that people have always been split about. So I was not on book Twitter when it initially came out, and apparently the author was kind of acting up then. I don't know, I wasn't there. I came on book Twitter towards the end of 2019, and I remember people talking about it and recommending that book, and even some people I'm cool with were like, oh, read Queenie. And then I heard some people who also were like, no, don't read Queenie. And they said, you're not going to like Queenie because she is a black woman who sexually degrades herself for these white men, and she has all these issues, and she doesn't like black men, and it's like supposedly she doesn't like black men because of some issues she had with like her mom's ex-boyfriend or stepfather or something like that. But then you'd think that would make her hate all men, but no, she only has smoke for black men. She lets white men treat her whatever which way. So I said, I'm not about that. I'm just going to avoid any. Now, that was back during the time where just because you wrote something egregious in your first book doesn't mean like I wouldn't give your second book a chance. So Candice Carty-Williams was getting a lot of applause for her novella. It's called Notting Hill Carnival, A West Side Story. And yes, it's a West Side Story version of Notting Hill Carnival. Now, when I think carnival, I think colors, I think food, I think music, I think vibrant. None of that vibrancy was displayed on page. She had very little description. I'm like, how are you gonna have a carnival book and have like barely any descriptions? And then also the romance just between the two rival gang members just did not click for me. So I wasn't feeling it, other than learning some new Black British slang. I didn't get much out of that book, so I just never read anything else by the author because I figured it wasn't worth my time. So that's how I personally feel. I knew Queenie was coming out as a TV series, but I just never had any interest in it, and I especially wouldn't have any interest in it now. I did have some interest in her show Champion because I heard good things about that, but after her behavior recently online, like, I don't even want to check out Champion because you have Brittany Danielle. She runs she writes for ESPN's Anscape, and she talks about she has a podcast where she talks about TV and stuff, and what she has one called Black Girl Watching, and she has one called We Be Watching. So like, she discusses TV. She's written for multiple different like kind of like big magazines and newspapers and stuff. So this is literally her job, to critique work. She wrote, "I had such high hopes for this book based on its vibrant cover, but I couldn't get over how self-sabotaging she was and how much she degraded herself for a white man who clearly hated her." That is not that bad. I have heard people say worse. Like, even a text that I tweet, people were like saying this book was trash, da 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 da, just like trashing the book. Candice Carty-Williams then hopped online, which I'm like, if life is going so well for you and you have this big series coming out, why are you even on Twitter? I'm on Twitter when I'm busy. I'm on Twitter less. So if I had a show on Hulu, I wouldn't be on Twitter at all. Like, I'd stick to my like group chats, and it would be that, because I'd be off like celebrating, living my life every day. I wouldn't be paying no mind to what's going on online, really. So she put, "This you, come chat to me when your books are available in stores." And she just posted some books that Brittany Danielle had written back in the early 2000s, which is like a whole different, it was like the early 2010s. That was a whole different landscape. A lot of people were experimenting with self-publishing, which there's nothing wrong with self-publishing at all, especially self-published romance. Authors are making way more there than a lot of traditionally published authors, and even a lot of traditionally published authors are hybrid, because once you've built up an audience, like, they're gonna stand by you. I remember first discovering Kindle books like around 2014, and a lot of people were reading those books. Like, I think I even saw Brittany Danielle's back in the day, from like when she had her different covers on them. But like, I remember a lot of authors would offer you the first book free, so you get like a chance to see what type of writing they're writing, and then like you would go buy up the rest of their books. So I bought quite a few authors that way, and some of them were interracial, and I had a good time. The problem was not that it was an interracial story either for her. It was that Queenie degrades herself for a white man. That's something I've heard people say over and over again. I heard from people, they said Queenie degrades herself, the white man, to the point where her doctor believes she was R-worded. So I know I didn't want to read that. So then people are coming for Candice Carty-Williams. I mean, she did get a few hundred, like about 400 likes, but the majority of people were quoting her and like just talking about it. Like, why would you do that? Why would you be so rude? Why would you try to put down another author, especially like an indie author? And then Brittany Danielle comes back and she's like, "I haven't written anything since about 2014 as far as novels. However, I do have this Hulu documentary coming out about hip-hop in the White House. You can check that out." So like, you're also putting down somebody, or attempting to put somebody down and belittle their career. They're in the same position as you. They also have something that they produced on Hulu. So that just is also a lesson about trying to come for people and you don't know their resume. But like, I've seen so many authors try to do that, like This You, or try to call people broke or this and that, for talking about the characters in their book, not their writing style. They never actually said the book was trash. They never said they would never read anything by the author again, just that I did not like these characters. And as somebody who is writing myself, and I have 2 books I'm currently working on, and there are things that are similar to life as far as like, and like background or setting or whatever. There's so much that is different. I purposely am trying to make sure that these are not me in book form, because that just, like, when you're writing too much of yourself into a book, which a lot of authors do, and you have that extra attachment where you see it as an extension of yourself, and your book should never be a full extension of yourself. It can have similarities, it can have stuff you know, but you are not your characters, and people are going to tear your characters up if they want to, and you need to be able to be comfortable and accept that. So I know for me, like, I've been talking with my friends about it. I've been prepping myself so that when people are reading my book in the future, I'm okay with it. Like, because as somebody who is a reviewer, I know people are going to talk about it, and I don't get like wanting to tear people down for just saying your book is not perfect. Most books are not perfect. There's always going to be somebody who doesn't love a book. And I even saw somebody try to say, well, you know, Candice's response was perfect for Jamaican Twitter. That's the type of response they would have there. On book Twitter, they don't play that, and I sent that to a Jamaican mutual, and they're like, no, Jamaican Twitter actually would not respond that way either. They actually had kind of like a similar type of situation happen recently with that. And so I wanted to share the response that she sent me in regard to that, because basically somebody had tweeted that they didn't get the hype around Stephen the Genius McGregor and his rhythms, saying that they don't move him. And if you are a fan of Jamaican music and you don't know the McGregor, and you are not really you are not a real fan of Jamaican music, because I grew up hearing the music of Freddie McGregor because of my dad being a big reggae fan and a big dancehall fan and just loving music. I am familiar with Stephen. I've heard his name so many times over the years. He's worked with so many people, not just in the genre, but outside of it as well, including Drake on Controller. So Stephen, I guess people were tagging him and trying to be messy or whatever. He saw the tweet and he quoted it and said, "So happy I saw this. A great lesson here for creatives. Don't expect everyone to love your art. Simply impossible. Just keep working and be grateful for the people who support you. Also, someone not liking it doesn't mean demify you. Preference. Keep working." That is the perfect mindset to have. That is something that I need these authors to read and understand. Everyone's not going to like your book. That doesn't mean they have a personal vendetta against you. That just means they did not like your book for whatever reason. Now, if you want to act up about it, that's when my personal vendetta against you is going to begin, because there are plenty of authors who I read and I didn't like certain things in the book. I didn't understand them, but I grew to really dislike the author for how they approached it. Like, especially when people like subtweet and try to like hype up their stan base and get them to come at people who are having a difference of opinion. Because I feel like if a lot of people who are supposedly your target audience are saying the same thing, you need to listen and understand and accept what they're saying and realize, yeah, there might be some problems with what you wrote. So when I see authors kind of like weaponizing the fans of their book to come after people and kind of snuff out those different opinions, that really turns me off. So what are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like this video, make sure and hit that like button. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!